In a world where men are taught to be endlessly agreeable emotionally, available on command, and always striving to make their partners happy, many fall into a subtle but devastating trap. They lose themselves. One of the most counterintuitive yet powerful truths about masculinity and romantic respect is this: if your mission in life is to never disappoint a woman, you've already lost. This isn't about being cruel, cold, or indifferent. It's about reclaiming your integrity. Because the second you start living to meet a woman's expectations over your own, you hand over your authority, your peace, and ultimately your attractiveness. Let's break this down in 5 critical truths every man must understand if he wants to be respected, desired, and free in a relationship. 1. You're not her fantasy, and you shouldn't try to be. Many men enter relationships and immediately start shape-shifting. They become what they think a woman wants: charming, funny, emotionally available, ambitious, tough yet vulnerable, the perfect man. But this perfection is performance, not presence. The truth is, women don't fall in love with a fantasy. They fall in love with a grounded, real man, someone who doesn't need their approval to function. The moment you start bending your values, editing your truth, or avoiding conflict to keep her happy, you aren't connecting with her, you're auditioning. When you tailor your personality to avoid disappointment, you become replaceable, not respected. Authenticity means you will disappoint her at times. You'll say something she doesn't like. You'll set a boundary she didn't expect. And that's exactly what creates depth, trust, and polarity in a relationship. You're not her fantasy. You're a man. And only men, not fantasies, can hold a woman's true respect. 2. Pleasing her will cost you your peace. Trying to manage a woman's emotional landscape 24/7 is not noble. It's self-abandonment. The man who fears disappointing her ends up living in a constant state of anxiety, sacrificing his own needs, ignoring his instincts, and walking on eggshells to avoid upsetting her. Over time, he becomes a puppet, reactive to her moods, dependent on her approval, and chronically burnt out. A man who cannot tolerate a woman's temporary discomfort is a man who will never find lasting peace. You are not her therapist, nor are you her emotional service provider. Your peace matters. And ironically, when you stop obsessing over how she feels and start anchoring into what you feel, you become far more attractive. True masculine energy is calming, centered, and unshaken, not because it never disappoints, but because it doesn't fear disappointment. 3. The power of no builds the man she actually desires. If you want to dissolve attraction, say yes to everything. Many men are terrified of the word no. They fear rejection, withdrawal, emotional backlash. But in avoiding the discomfort of conflict, they lose their backbone, and with it, her respect. A man who can't say no is not a partner. He's a servant. But a man who says no calmly and confidently, that's leadership. That's masculine integrity. Whether it's protecting your time, your energy, or your values, your no defines the frame of the relationship. It tells her, I lead. I have standards. I am not here to be used. And here's the kicker: she may resist your boundaries at first. She may pout, cry, challenge, or test. But deep down, she's assessing your center. Can this man lead even when I'm emotional? Can I trust him to stay grounded under pressure? She doesn't want your compliance. She craves your strength. 4. Disappointing her creates real boundaries. If you're constantly afraid of upsetting her, you'll never draw the lines that preserve your identity. Boundaries aren't walls. They're respect lines. And without them, love becomes manipulation, and connection becomes compliance. Every time you tolerate disrespect or ignore a red flag to keep her happy, you lose a piece of yourself. Women test boundaries not out of malice, but instinct. She wants to know where the edge is. If you never provide one, you become a mirror to her moods, not a man she can trust. Your willingness to say, "That's not okay with me," even when it upsets her, is what defines you. That is the moment she meets the real you. And that is the version she learns to respect. A man with boundaries doesn't just love better. He leads better. And when a woman respects your boundaries, she respects your leadership. 5. Discomfort is the price of leadership. Here's the hard truth. You cannot lead if you're afraid to be disliked. Real masculine leadership requires clarity, direction, and unshakable values, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable. Sometimes that means saying no when she wants a yes. Sometimes it means calling out toxic behavior. Sometimes it means walking away. Yes, it may hurt her feelings. But if preserving your dignity requires disappointing her, then disappointment becomes a form of devotion to your higher self. Because when the storms of life hit, and they will, she won't want a man who pleases her. She'll want a man who grounds her. A rock. A leader. And a leader isn't forged in comfort. He's forged in fire. Conclusion. She may cry. She may complain. But she will respect you. Every respected man has disappointed a woman at some point, not because he wanted to hurt her, but because he refused to betray himself to please her. That's what separates a man from a boy. So the next time you feel that discomfort rise, the fear of upsetting her, of hearing, "I'm disappointed in you," of losing approval, pause, and remember, you were not put here to be a fantasy. You were put here to be a man. And if you must choose between disappointing her or disappointing yourself, choose her. Disappointment. Because that's the path that makes her look at you not just as a lover, but as a leader.